We don't have a lot of time for cha, so I'm gonna go straight into it. Um, Stumbled into something a couple of days ago, and then I stumbled into something else today. So I decided to do a little bit of digging, and I know you all, at least those of you who follow me on Twitter, I know that you guys saw that I published this earlier today, and it's a little sort of cut from a document that I have that talks about the National Computer Forensics Institute, right, which is an NCFI. And it states, this is like a clipping from either a newsletter or some sort of something, that it will be offering free online training for state and local prosecutors. Did you hear that? The National Computers Forensic Institute, the NCFI, operating since 2008, is a federally funded training facility located in Hoover, Alabama, and operating in a partnership between the Alabama District Attorney's Office and the United States Secret Service. The NCFI provides training in digital evidence, computer forensics to state and local prosecutors, judges, and law enforcement for the entire country and U.S. territories. The normal training offerings for prosecutors are our 4 Digital Evidence for Prosecutors DEP and the Advanced Digital Evidence for Prosecutors ADEP classes, both 5 days, blah, 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 blah. And it keeps talking about that. I'm not going to go into, any more of that. But what I am trying to focus here is on the fact that this offering right here down below, this offering will be Thursday, August 20th, 1 p.m. The second will be Tuesday, September 1st at 2 Eastern Time. Chris Kelly, a longtime NCFI legal instructor, will instruct the training. Chris is the director of the Digital Evidence Laboratory of the Massachusetts Attorney General's Office since 2008. He was an assistant district attorney in Suffolk County, Massachusetts, from 2003 to 2008, and an assistant Massachusetts Attorney General from 2008 to 2012. So now that we're all caught up with that, we need to talk about this. Because until now, I just figure out that this is a heavy hitter. This is just not, a lab person. This is the director of the forensic lab of the Attorney General's office. So if I go, and this will make sense in a minute. So if I go to, let's go here. Okay, no, just necessary ones. Okay, so I'm going to go and I'm going to show you. This is a cybersecurity speaker series, Attorney General's Office, October 4th, 2018, Northeastern University, right? This is in Boston. But he talks about the speaker, and there's, I've been trying to find a face of this person I need a face, like that's my thing. So Chris Kelly, director of the Digital Evidence Laboratory and Assistant Attorney General, Massachusetts Attorney General's Office. And it says date October 4th, 2018, location, blah, 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 Columbus Avenue, Boston, Massachusetts, blah, blah, blah. Cybersecurity in the Attorney General's Office. Abstract, the Massachusetts Attorney General's Office is a chief lawyer and law enforcement officer in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. The Digital Evidence Lab is responsible for processing all of the digital evidence in the AG's office uses in its criminal prosecutions. As director of the lab, Chris advises the AG on issues of cybersecurity and cyber attacks. Oh my God. This talk will present a fuller understanding of the scope of work, the common challenges, including making issues understandable, oh my God, for attorneys and juries, oh my God, and the opportunities of the AG's office sees for working with academia to solve problems. Academia, not macadamia. So the AG and the Digital Evidence Lab strives to be national leaders in this state-specific cybersecurity issues. About the speaker, Chris Kelly is a director of the Digital Evidence Laboratory for the Massachusetts Attorney General's Office. In this role, Chris supervises a team of analysts conducting digital forensic examinations of computers, mobile devices, and other technical evidence in the course of criminal investigations. Prior to his appointment to this position, Chris served as a managing attorney of the Cybercrime Division of the Massachusetts Attorney's Office, General's Office, and in that position, Chris not only prosecuted cyber offenses, but also worked with members of the Cybercrime Division to design and implement priority projects and trainings and set forth in the Massachusetts Strategic Plan for Cybercrime. Oh my God. Okay, so let's just, because this is how it goes, right? This is how it goes. Let's take a pause and switch to this. I'm going to share this tab instead. Here we go. Oh my God. Oh my God. This is a 2014 article, and I know that we took a quick peek at it a couple of days ago, and partnership grows at the speed of cyberspace technology. So it says, Elevate Technology in Rockland is a cybersecurity company founding fathers seated from the left, Mark Miller and Mike McCabe, standing Matt McCabe and Michael Painota. Oh, Jesus. Quincy, technology is all about benefits and threats. Oh my God. And the speed and sophistication of development on both sides of the spectrum has spawned industries of their own. In an age when almost all information from baby pictures to strategic war plans is transmitted through digital channels, the risk of having that information accessed by hackers, phishers, cyber criminals, and terrorists has never been greater. Oh my. And it keeps going. So, private and public sectors. In 2009, brothers Michael McCabe of Sandwich and Matthew McCabe of Kenton partner with former Wingham resident Mark Miller and Mike Pinata of Duxbury to found Elevate Technology Solutions. The four left their corporate positions in other industries to build a staffing and consulting service company based in Rockland. Are you following me here? So we went from cybersecurity to staffing and consulting services. So what this means is that they sort of did not narrow the essence. This company is not just cybersecurity, IT, software solutions. It expanded, right? It's a little broader because it allows them to generate profit by servicing other industries and make them sort of like all relatable, right? And that's a strategy, so they can sort of like catch and retain any potential income that could deviate from. Oh my God. Jesus Christ. So Elevate recruits IT specialists with a specific focus on enterprise applications, cloud technology, big data, and cybersecurity. Their clients range from small business companies to the U.S. government. And the flexible strategy of using contract experts to supplement contract experts. Oh my God. Let me make sure that I'm by myself here because I may freak out. And oh, great. My mouse is running out of battery, so it's going to make it very interesting. So, wait. Let's see if I can. Nope. Hold on. I'm going to need to plug this for a second and plug that and see if. Yeah, guys. I think I found what I'm looking for. And I still haven't found what I'm looking for. I think I did though. And if that's the case, I think we can. Now, my question is, did John know about this? Like, is there the slightest possibility that John O'Keefe knew about this? Let me see something. Personal credit data breaches and targeted corporation expanding the need for specialized information technology services in the private and public sector led four Massachusetts businessmen to go all in to meet what they saw as a universal product need. Yeah, I think it transcends the normal universal product needs. In 2009, brothers Michael McCabe of Sandwich and Matthew McCabe of Kenton partnered with former Wyndham resident Mark Miller and Mike Pinota from Duxbury to elevate technology solution. The four left their corporate positions in other industries to build a staffing and consulting service company. Everybody was under the impression this was an IT software solution, and I guess it is, but it's also a staffing and consulting services company based in Rockland, Massachusetts. Since then, the company has experienced massive growth in clients, increased revenues, and has expanded through enough to open facilities in two other state locations. Elevate recruits IT specialists with a specific focus on enterprise applications, cloud technology, big data, and cybersecurity. Their clients range from small private companies to the U.S. government, and the flexible strategy of using contract experts to supplement staff knowledge gives them a competitive edge. No shit, Sherlock, in finding the right solution for their client needs, they say. Oh my God. The four took a risk when they opened up shop in the midst of a recession, but as managing partner, Michael McKay sees it. It was also a time when companies were trying to learn how to be better at using the internet to their advantage, and in need of the kinds of services Elevate and its contractors supply. We took a gamble by starting a company at that time. Yeah. But we've had an explosive growth because we embraced the technology, changed and used that to propel what our vision was in the marketplace, because we knew people needed to leverage companies like us in order to grow. This is big. Hold on. What happened? Why is it that the minute that I go live, everybody wants to talk? It's like I'm talking. Hold on. Wait, what was the name of that company? I'm trying to see if I can find it here because I'm charging my mouse as we speak. But let me see if I can find. Didn't was it Marty Kraft? They had some sort of investigation. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. I'm looking on my phone. Had a private PI something that then they were joking or saying that after Michael Proctor was fired, he was going to work with them or something like that. So let me see. Oh, I found an article, TV Daily News. Marty Kraft private investigation company is called Kraft Investigations Group. Okay, so we're going to look at that one. Howie Carr also reported that Brian Albert later became a licensed private investigator. Well, the National Council of Investigation and Security Service lists Martin Kraft as an associate with the Licensed Private Detective Associations in Massachusetts. So wait, because this there's got to be a marriage here somewhere. This cannot all be divorced from each other. So wait, let's see. Oh, please, allergies go away. And the numbers prove The wisdom of that vision. In its first year in business, Elevate had 2 clients. I wonder what those 2 clients were. Would they say it? Let me see. Let me see. Let me sit. Okay. So since then, it served 55 commercial clients and 9 government agencies and placed 722 consultants on assignments. Revenue, which was 456,679 in 2009, grew to a 17 million by the end of 2013, they say. The company also expanded from its corporate headquarters in Rockland to open new offices in Reston, Virginia. How do you know? Silver Line. And Raleigh, North Carolina. Wait. Wasn't Fanning in North Carolina at some point when he was texting? Yeah, I gotta make a note. Hold on. So, because that could be, I heard, yeah, he was texting something about Outer Banks or something, and he had no service, but he was texting. Okay, so Elevate's tremendous growth landed in the 92nd spot. Oh my God, the Fortune 500 list of fastest growing IT companies in the country. The single fastest growing one in Massachusetts. You don't say. According to Elevate Leadership's team, the growth in threats is directly related to a growth in technology, and the growth in Elevate's business follows that tech threat curve. Well, would you believe it? Huh. So that's how they managed. So, and that makes all the sense in the world. This is brilliant. I mean, this was brilliant to combine an IT software sort of like cyber iCloud solutions company with staffing and subcontracting. This is brilliant. So, in the past, the way you took data about people was to walk out of a building with a data or a hard drive, said Beth Purdue, the company's vice president of corporate development and strategy. Beth Purdue. Let me write that down. Let's find out who Beth is. Because now I'm curious. It's all about relationships. So today there are so many different ways to threaten security. Elevate utilizes a robust mix of full-time staff, contract employees, field consulting services, and their own consulting services and projects requiring highly specialized technology to provide clients with the opportunities to benefit from virtual mobility and cloud technology. It has adapted the needs of those clients whose concern has been transitioned to cybersecurity. Elevate competes with other staffing agencies that provide similar services but have found a large client base in Massachusetts and Washington, D.C., which led to a word of mouth introductions nationwide, they say. Our specialists have to think about how someone walks off with the information now, Purdue says. It is enough. It is through human person. It is through a device, a series of device, spider technology, and these people have used their imaginations to figure out how people might do it, and how they might do it in volume. Originally, cybersecurity was secondary, but we've evolved into that, McKay said. Your customers take you places sometimes. At what? At we were, well, I don't know. That was like boo-boo. Doesn't make any sense. At we were more focused in technologies like virtualization, but now it is obvious that security wraps around all of this. Company details. Services providing services, enterprise application, cloud, big data security, founders, blah, blah, blah. We already know. Growth, 2 clients in 2009. By 2014, 55 commercial clients, 9 government agencies. Since 2009, 722 consultants placed on assignments. 2009 revenue was $456,679. By 2013, over 17 millions. Wicked Local, and it is brought to you by wickedlocal.com. Let me see if this mouse is charged enough to help. Let me use it a bit. Okay, wait. Yeah, just a little. I don't know if anybody's there. I don't know if anybody has sent messages. My mouse doesn't want to cooperate. So how am I going to do this? I have no idea. And on top of that, why is my mouse not wanting to cooperate? Nope, doesn't want to do anything. So I guess I'm stuck here for a minute until it charges. It can't even change. Let me see if I can flip using the tabs, but then I need two hands, so I can't do that. So let's see. Hold on 1 second. I think I'm going to be able to change this a different way. Give me 1 second. Hold on. 1 second. I'm going to see. Okay, here we go. I have. Oh my God. Hey, D-Mart, I'm on my phone. I can't. So my mouse quit on me. Hello. But I am going to use this to text. And I'm charging the mouse as I go. But I think, when you were putting in a comment on the last live that we did, I was just stumbling into this and the timing was perfect. So here's what I found. Okay. Most people think that the company, the IT software company that Matt McCabe has, is only IT related, software related, but it's a little bit more than that, right? They're not only focused on cybersecurity and all of that good stuff and the cloud and providing solutions, but they also sort of captivate the niche that has to do with staffing and subcontracting and providing resources to other companies and government agencies, which it sort of like widens, right, the realm of things that they are able to do. So they use experts. That's one of the things they do, is using contract experts to supplement staff knowledge to anybody, to private companies and the US government too. So putting this together with the email that he sent, it explains a lot. Putting this together with the May 2023 email, where finally both Whiffin and Hyde were secured, were retained, contracted to provide support for Guarino. I don't know. Oh my gosh. Hello, Rubenette. How are you? Do you guys remember that? Yes. Yes. Hello, sweethearts. I think okay, Rubenette, are you in front of my computer? I just lost battery on my mouse. If anybody can check on Elevate. Hold on. Let me use the cursor. Okay, so the company started, the name of the company, the initial name of the company is Elevate Technology Solutions, okay? But it's not only technology solutions, they provide staffing, which means that, don't forget that means that they can hire outsourced people to provide contracts, like contracting experts. I don't know if you see it right there. A flexible strategy using contract experts to supplement staff knowledge gives them a competitive edge. So the only thing not only the thing that they do is just provide IT solutions, which means that when we see an email on May 2023 that it says that they have retained experts to support Guarino's finding, what are the odds, man? Because this company, that's what they do. They identify experts in a fast-growing IT service company, whatever industry, and that's what they do. Now, if we even put it further into context, what are the odds that the issue with Guarino's findings when he extracted John's phone and Jennifer McKay's phone was what? The 22740 search that Richard Green called Celebrite for by the end of 2022. And what I.Whiffin did was that he contacted Norfolk County, right? The same Norfolk County that Matt McCabe is addressing on the email that he's sending in July 2024, demanding that Trooper Proctor is put back into payroll and not fired, right? Because, oh my God, are you guys following me? I am too. Well, I am both in the computer and on the I'm on both right now. This is so I found a little clip of something and I posted it on X, and it had something to do with what do you call it? It had something to do with the National, Forensic Institute, whatever. Let me see if I can find it on my phone so I can read it from here. Yeah. So, okay. So, Chris Kelly, when we talk about the National Computers Forensic Institute, that institute is pretty much operated in partnership by the Alabama District Attorney, but it's also operated by the United States Secret Service. That's where the majority of the funding comes from, okay, which is all U.S. government. So Chris Kelly not only is the Digital Evidence Laboratory Director for the Massachusetts Attorney General's Office since 2008, but he's also a long-time legal instructor at the same National Computers Forensic Training. So I have a flowchart in my mind. I can't show it to you, and I have one that I was going to pull. It doesn't have this information because this is recent. I just got this, but I was going to add this to see how it fits on what I had before. Because if this is the case, like, let's put it into perspective. So you have Norfolk County, you have Chris Kelly, who is the guy that is the director of the thing for the AG's office. You got Tully informing Chris Kelly that they had hired Whiffin and Hyde, right, to support Guarinos. And then he is not only the director of the AG's office lab, but he's also embedded with the Secret Service, whatever. So is Matt McCabe. So is Jessica Hyde. So there's like this smells conflict of interest to me all over the place. Like how can these people not be conflicted out? There is no way that these people don't know each other. There is no way that Matt McCabe owns a company that does just that, contracts employees, right, to provide highly specialized technological knowledge That's the nature of his company. And by May, they already have 2 experts, right, supporting Guarino's findings. And the Guarino's finding was that Richard Green called, and Guarino could not say, well, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I found house loans dying the cold here, right? So what are the odds? How do we explain this? How do we explain this? Like at this point, I want somebody to prove to me that there's no conflict of interest there, because all I see is conflict of interest all over the place. Then you wonder why there was a motion back in the day when Karen's defense lawyer said that Karen was conflicted out with who? With Chris Kelly. And we talked about this a couple of like live shows before. But now I understand it's not solely isolated and related to Chris Kelly at the AG's office. Then you find an email, and that email came about a couple of weeks ago, maybe a week ago, and it was a couple of days ago. It took me days to analyze this damn email because this was just not an email, right? And I listed it, all the people that are involved in this email that he sent to all of these people. And they're all government officials. All of them. I'm not sure whether somebody is following my train of thought here or hold on. Okay, in other words, yep. Yes. And so DMART. Yeah, which makes sense of the arrogance. Yes. So this is how insulated by family. But it's like, why would they do a defamation lawsuit, DMART? Like, well, first, because they have no idea. We know now what we know, right? You're the only one doing this work. I'm not sure whether, okay, so I don't even know how I went from auditing documents that are related to John O'Keefe's death. The thing is that when something doesn't make any sense, right, I got to stop. Like, you have to sort of like deviate from what you're doing, just like I do on my damn YouTube shows. I can't stay on a straight path because one thing leads to another. You have to go into a tangent because if you don't, you are failing to explore as you go, right? So one of the things that brought all this was when I found that email from May 19th. I want to say it was May 19th. Now I can't check anything because my mouse just lost batteries. So I'm stuck. I'm talking to you in front of my computer, but I have the phone in my hand and I'm texting as I am talking. You're the only one doing this work. I saw that. I am trying to imagine what Matt would be trying to cover up. Well, but to me, it's obvious. He was the one who found the experts. That's what his company does. I am following. So defamation to get more info, throw a wrench, make it take longer, change public opinion, protect assets, and more chaos. Yes, but it's like if you Google, if the company, I mean, at the Wicked Local thing, that's what his company does. So we remember that we were looking into the grants and who was paid what, because I haven't found, other than the little monies like 4,000 this, 45,000 here, I haven't found anything like how much was Celebrite paid, how much was but why? What do you mean? Why would Matt McCabe be involved? Matt McCabe is Jen McCabe's husband. Jen McCabe's phone was, and how do we know that he's not? I mean, the fight happened between 2 to 3 people. It couldn't be a one-on-one situation, right? If it was a one-on-one situation, maybe the outcome would have been different. But this was an ambush, right? So maybe he did, maybe he didn't. We don't know that. I do know that he was one of the last ones that was there and talking to John on the phone right before 38 seconds before 53 seconds before John pulled up. Him, Chris, and Jen. And Jen went inside the house. That's what her iWatch shows. And the phone call ended at 12:19:36, right after John checked on his WhatsApp and figured out how far he was. Now, there's something else new that has come up. And it's because of the fact that John went straight through, like, he walked like straight through, almost like if he knew where he was going, and took that door. When Karen saw him going straight through and going to the threshold, took that door like towards the garage. Maybe they don't consider the garage as a house as part of 34 Fairview, but I do. I consider the driveway as part of 34 Fairview. This side yard to the right, that's part of 34 Fairview. So what I'm saying is that how do we know that they didn't tell him which door to take also? Right? Just like they were giving him directions of how to get there, how do we know that when they found out that he was that close, what if before they hung up, they also said, hey, take the red door to the right? How do we know that? Why would John walk straight through, almost like if he knew where he was going and he's never been there before? And going into somebody else's house where he's never been to before and doesn't use the front door. I'm trying to say is that maybe all of what you are revealing has to do with why John was killed. And that's what I'm saying. What if he knew? What if he knew about all this? If Jen is held liable and owes money to Karen, it is coming from Matt's earnings. Also, he is possibly protecting other family members. Yes, because he wasn't the only one that was there. Right? But hear me out. Like, this is someone who has the potential and the possibility and the resources to hire experts. Right? When Tully sent that email, he sent it to Chris Kelly, right? Which is at the AG's office. And the AG's office was one of the recipients of who? Of Matt's email. Okay? So what did I.Whiffin do? He generated a ticket. The physical analyzer had been upgraded 22 days prior. Do you know how much it costs for a physical analyzer to be upgraded? Anywhere between $5,000-$6,000 to $10,000-$20,000, depending on what they're doing, what the glitch is, what the fix is. What I'm trying to say is there was a ticket number. Oh my God, I don't have access to my mouse yet. There was a ticket number that was created by I.Whiffin. I.Whiffin created a ticket, right? He never called Richard Green back immediately. What he did was he sent him an email and told him, hey, the physical analyzer is about to be upgraded. We have that in writing. Richard Green says the email that I.Whiffin sent him. We have that on the FOIA documents, and says that I.Whiffin confirmed to him that once the physical analyzer was upgraded to the 7.69 whatever, we were not going to be able to find the house alone to die in the cold on the Celebrite part of it, right? Oh my God, I just thought of something. So it makes all the sense in the world. Oh my God, wait, because I just thought of something else. So I'm brainstorming in real time here. So this is a great conversation. I have to go on a work call. I will jump back. Okay, cool. Thank you, sweetheart. So let's say, for instance, oh my God. Wait. Okay, so he hires the people. So it's the May 19th email. So the May 19th email comes out. They say that they found somebody to support Guarino. Fine. So Chris Kelly is identified. But Chris Kelly already knows who it is that he's informed. So Jessica Hyde and Whiffin come on board. So why wouldn't Celebrite? Why wouldn't the report that was turned in come from Celebrite? And does that have anything to do with the fact that potentially, they were recruited by Elevate to provide support to Norfolk County District Attorney? Because if Elevate had anything to do with the recruiting of these people, that's it. Like, we should have not gone through trial one. Forget the hearings. Like, it should have just gone kaput right there and then, because that is a major conflict of interest. Why is Matt McCabe and his company, even though he's the executive vice president of this thing, which is owned by, he says he's just a witness, right? So why would his oh my God, supply, let's say that, holy shit. But it makes sense that he did, because who of anybody would like to conceal that the 22740 House Loan to Die in the Cold was actually an activity that was typed into a suspended tab, even though the browser did not execute the search and doesn't show on the browser state DB history, because it wasn't a search, it was an activity, and that's why it showed on the WAL file. So what if, oh my freak, oh my God. So how do oh my God, I am freaking out. So wait, so there's nothing to be looked at. Everything is in black and white. So you have an email, and now you have the detailed information of what this company does. And then you have the National Computer Forensic Institute, that the developer of the curriculum, one of the legal instructors, is the same director of the Attorney General's lab. And what's her name? Caitlin. Wait, Caitlin was working there since she was on an internship there since 2021. And she was appointed in March by Maura Healey to have a permanent job there, which she took on September of 2022. Wait, oh my God. This is September 2022. So, wait. Yeah. So September 2022, which was the same time, that was the same year that John died. So September 2022, March 2022, Maura Healey appoints her. September 2022, on the 4th, is Brian Albert's birthday. And on the same month, Caitlin Albert goes to work there. And that's when the phones were destroyed too, was September. And wait. By the end of the year, 2022, Richard Greens stumbles into the artifact. He contacts Whiffin. It gets escalated from the intake at Celebrite all the way to PR. Whiffin is made aware. Whiffin contacts back Norfolk County. Norfolk County is Guarino, Tully, and all of them. And then we're already in 2023. By May 19th, there's an email from Norfolk County to Chris Kelly, letting Chris Kelly know that they have already retained the experts, which is Whiffin, former law enforcement who heard about the artifact from Richard Green, and Hyde, who audits Whiffin, peer reviews him, and know each other, right? I'm sure they have stumbled in conferences and foreign digital whatever with each other. So So wait. So in May also, there's a second extraction, but that was May 2022, right? That happened on Jen McKay's phone, right? And this is 2023. So, oh my God. And then all the hearings start, right? Then we hear the hearing and the paperwork and the motion where Karen says that she's conflicted out with Chris Kelly. Then everything continues on. We know that they were not supported to analyze or do anything. A ticket gets created. An email is sent back to Richard Green. Richard Green sends an affidavit. On the affidavit, Richard Green confirms that I.Whiffin sends him an email saying that once the physical analyzer is upgraded, the search is going to disappear, right? So April 2023, that's when the horn got blown about the house loan to die in the cold situation. By May, the email is already going back and forth between these people. We already talked about that. So they already have a plan in motion. No wonder why they're so freaking confident. And the grin in their faces. So wait. Because then we saw the grant. So which ones are these 9 federal agencies? I need to know. 55 commercial clients, 9 government agencies. I want to know, who do we serve? Because I know for a fact that the first grant that they received was a grant for about 39 millions elevated back in, I want to say, was 2014. Let me see if it matches with the numbers. Yep. In 2000, okay, see, by the end of 2013, 17 million. So the grant was somewhere around there. And that grant was providing services for the U.S. Secret Service. And the U.S. Secret Service is what funds the National Computer Forensic Institute in Alabama. So that is the same grant that Exordia, which was constituted in May 2021, just a couple of months after Sandra Birchmore, does the same grant she received in, oh my God, I need my mouse. Hold on. Let me see if this works. I'm going to put it back again and see if it, give me 1 second. Nope. 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 It won't move. Why would it move? Somebody just hacked into my computer and it's not letting me move for some reason. I'm gonna have to leave it there for a second. Let me go back to the phone. Hold on. Oh my God. So where are we? So, okay. Oh my God. I have, yeah, wait. So, yes. But why would Matt be involved? So is he the one who killed John? So yeah, it doesn't work that way, Ruvenet. You gotta slow down with the pieces, because the pieces is what tells us. It's not us pushing pieces so it fits. So what I'm trying to say is maybe what you're revealing has to do with why I'm saying that too. I don't know whether he knows. I have no idea whether John could have known what it is that's going on here. But I mean, I don't even know yet what the heck is going on here. I'm trying to put it together as I go. What I see so far is that, oh my God, I got a Venmo. Oh my God. Thank you. And he says, you're a genius. That is so cute. But should I say who? Maybe not. Okay, I'll wait until I get an inkling. But what I'm trying to say is we have no idea whether John knew or didn't know. We're forming this puzzle as we go, right? Jen is liable and owes Karen money. That's right now, we're not there yet. It's like you guys are going quicker than I'm going. Like, let's Okay, so that's what I'm doing, is looking into it. Nobody else is looking into it. Have you noticed that nobody else is looking into nothing? Everybody is just stealing content from other people and talking BS and killing each other. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god, I'm excited because I'm excited and Joseph's excited. I heard Caitlin Albert was wondering if she tipped them off about the phones. Yeah, and I think about that too. But look, somebody needs to put the states down because I can't use my mouse and I can't use my hand. So can somebody? Okay, so by March 2022, Caitlin was nominated to the Attorney General's office. She started in September 2022, but she had worked there in an internship before in 2021. So in 2023, yeah, Chris decided to run for select board, which is like, why didn't he run when John was alive? Why didn't he run when he was? You see what I'm saying? It does not. None of this makes any sense. Um, so wait, so Canton select for IKA all the time. Yeah, but it's bigger than the Canton select board. So Josie's talking about Jen McCabe's company. So I don't know if you saw this charity, but this is not just an IT company. Can you? Okay, I need to get somebody in here to help me navigate this thing. So this is not just an IT company. They provide contract experts. Can you read here? Elevate recruits IT specialists. Look, right there on the top. With a specific focus on enterprise applications, cloud technology, big data, and cybersecurity. Their clients range from small private companies to the US government, and the flexible strategy of using contract experts to supplement staff knowledge. Are you listening to this thing? So, oh my God, it doesn't follow all of that. This hasn't been addressed or refuted, let alone discussed by anybody except you. Only possible in, at best, an environment capable of massive, successful deception. Not only that, it gets worse than that. Thank you for the Venmo. You guys are amazing. It gets worse than that. So what if, right? What if this is the chef, the cook, and the dishwasher guy, if you think about it, right? Because you have a company, you have a director. Oh my God, last comment, one string, one hand genius, Justice for John O'Keefe. Also didn't get a notification. Maybe I missed it. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I really don't know what's going on. I really feel bad about your arm. Look at what you have done with the time and one arm. But I don't want anybody to feel bad about it's the hand, it's the wrist. So, and I've been managed to deal with it. Like my desk goes up and down. So no simping. Don't feel bad about this at all. And to the contrary, because of the situation that I have with my hand and my wrist, that's why I have had time to dig into this. I wouldn't have had if I was like fully operation and working and working on my own business. I had to put stuff on hold. But this has given me the opportunity to go further on this thing. So let's think about it as a freaking blessing. Now, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Present for the class. Hi, Mr. Sweeney. Oh my God, Mr. Sweeney. Oh my God. Can somebody tell him? So, Mr. Sweeney, I can't move my mouse. It died. And the company that Matt McCabe owns, okay, it's not only a software, IT, whatever, cybersecurity, whatever. I found on Wicked Local, and it's available. You all can look it up. They provide contract experts to supplement staff knowledge. Okay. That's part of what they do. They also vet contracts, they do the investigation and vet contracts for the government. Meaning that, let's say, for instance, those who need like security clearances and whatever, there's always a need for an investigator to be behind the scenes and conduct the cybersecurity part of it, right? To get those security clearances granted. So Chris Kelly, which he was an assistant district attorney for Suffolk County. I don't know if you guys know that. I can't move now because my mouse is charging. But, oh my God. Okay, wait. Let me see if I can do this. Let me see. Hold on. Let me see. Stay where you are. I'm going to go back to this. Yeah. So okay. So Chris Kelly, before he was in 2008, he's been at the Attorney General's office since 2008. He oh my God, he was also the assistant whatever back then, and he's been at this position since 2008, but he's also been a legal advisor and sort of like a curriculum developer at the National Computer Forensic Institute in Hoover, Alabama. Okay, this is where all of these experts meet and trained. And what they do is that they provide assistance and training to all of these people, all of the cyber, digital security, whatever people. So, in other words, they all know each other. They all know each other. There is no way that somebody can tell me that they don't know each other. When the May email went out to Chris Kelly, when he said, we are gathering everything that we need for the 25th evidentiary hearing, we have retained an outside digital expert. And then you have Matt McKay's company, and I just found out they do that too. They retain digital contract experts. And to support Guarino's findings about how someone to die in the cold, who's more invested and interested that thing disappears? Maybe the same people who tried to delete it to begin with. And he's got a company that does just that. And this May 11th, 2023 email from Tully to Chris, what's his name? Kelly and everybody else is telling them that they just hired Whiffin and Hyde. And Whiffin and Hyde know each other. And Whiffin, the reason why Hyde came back is because they needed somebody to back up Whiffin. Because Whiffin sat on that witness stand saying that he isn't the product manager for who? For Celebrite. But at the end of the day, when everything was said and done, don't forget that during cross-examination, I need to bring this up. During cross-examination, Alessi and the redirect by Brennan, they drilled him and they asked him, does this search is still legit? And Magnet Axiom Forensics refused to delete it. Yes, it still exists. It's still existing in Axiom Forensics. Remember? So this is yes. So what happened? What happened during the conference that we recently watched? The Celebrite conference that happened in Washington, D.C. That they're talking about a judge calling Heather and Ian and asking them about what? Who has access to Axiom reports? Who has access to Magnet Axiom reports? So put two and two together. That's why the report that Whiffin turned in for trial purposes, it didn't come from Celebrite. It came from who? Can you imagine the pickle that, can you imagine the pickle that Celebrite would be involved right now if they would have put their logo into that report that says that there was a ticket that was opened up to upgrade a physical analyzer 22 days after it faced the last upgrade, just to delete How Long to Die in the Cold? Like Karen, by now, Karen, because what? These lawsuits, we're missing people in these lawsuits. We are missing entities on these lawsuits. This is the chef, the cook, and the dishwasher guy approach. And all of this little circle, everybody's connected. I can physically connect all of these people. Whether somebody's going to have to confirm that my findings are true, probably. But I'm sorry, but I don't think I'm wrong. This is totally exclusively my opinion. But when I read here that Chris Kelly is a longtime National Computer Forensic legal instructor, and he's also the director of Digital Evidence Laboratory for the Massachusetts Attorney General's Office since 2008. Okay? It's a little bit hard not to understand why Karen stated on that motion, and there was a hearing where Alan Jackson advocated that she was conflicted out. So think about this. Why would Karen be conflicted out unless she knew? Is it simply because she knew that that Caitlin Albert was also working there and perhaps on the same laboratory? I really doubt it. Why? Why do I doubt it? Because Caitlin Albert was on an internship in 2021 at the Attorney General's office. Caitlin Albert was appointed by Maura Healey, the same Maura Healey that Matt McKay sent the other email that I posted the other day. Do you guys remember? So yeah, it doesn't surprise me either, because now it's like this is a very small pond. It's almost like all these fish are swimming on the same waters, whether they're salty waters or sweet waters, it doesn't matter. All of these fish know each other. They're playing with each other. Then you wonder, why is Matt McKay sending such an incriminating email? But then you and I know that nobody thought that that email would ever be made public and that we would ever get our hands on that email, right? Nobody thought that an email that was sent from Matt McKay to all of these people, like I listed all of the people that were listed on that email, high government officials, senators, and whatever. Nobody thought that that email was going to come to light. And what does he say on this email, people? You're supposed to be protecting those involved. It took me 2 days to actually break down that email into pieces, word by word. Because when I first read it, it didn't really, it's just another email. It didn't say anything to me. Okay, so he sent an email to everybody and their mother, and they're all in cahoots and, advocating and pleading. That's not what it was. That was more than that. That email was more than that. That email was almost, I won't say a confession, but that email was almost proof that they know exactly what they're doing. And he's advocating and telling them that if they don't do something, this is going to become a lawless society. To me, that's a threat of somebody that knows you, somebody you also know, somebody who has contributed to what? To your campaign, to your whatever, that has gone to horse betting situations with you, somebody who knows you, because he says, this is nothing like you and I have seen before. How does he know that? How does he know what the government of Massachusetts has seen before? How does he know what, I don't know, Briscoe has seen before? How does he know that? I mean, I remember one of the little clips that they shared, that it was one of Josh Levy's, like little clips that says, every resident of Massachusetts has the right to expect that those of us in law enforcement will uphold the law. When an individual violates that expectation, it hits to the core. It undermines the public confidence in our profession. And at the end of the day, he goes on and on and on. And then he says, when individuals put their greed before public duty, they must be held accountable. Must be held accountable. Police officers who abuse their power will continue to be held accountable by his office. That's what one of the things that he said. This makes all the sense in the world to me. And I have no idea how I went for, oh, I know why. Because it was the May 11th email. And then as many documents as I have gone through, as many documents as I have scrutinized, it is so sort of like ironic that it was Matt McCabe's email that was shared. I think it was Toto Boy and then Kelly, I can't remember. She shared it, and that's how I saw it. And I tried to say thank you to her, and then she said, "Well, thank Toto Boy because he was the one who shared it, and I grabbed it from him." But that doesn't matter. The thing is, she shared this email because he had shared it, and she went ahead and reposted it. And I found the email, and then I went to the FOIA. I said, "Okay, is this available?" So I found the email on the FOIA. And the date is what caught my attention because this was July 22nd, 2024. The first trial had already ended on July 2nd. David Trubb announced his resignation in the steps of the court of Dedham. Like, I'm resigning. Everybody started talking about how David Trubb decided to resign all of a sudden. And then there was the talks that everybody started saying the decision about firing Michael Proctor had been reached. That was right around that time. So here he comes on the 22nd. If he's just a witness, right? Because they're just witnesses. How does he know that there was a decision to fire Michael Proctor as early as July 22nd at 4:53 p.m.? How does he know? How does he know? And then you look at all of these people that he's sending this email to. Andrea Campbell, John Pinkham, Gerald Collins, the State Police Association, Morrissey, Trubb, Bellin, Lynn Bellin, who was back and forth with Josh Levy. And Josh Levy already told her, our office has reached different findings than Norfolk County District Attorneys. I'm sorry, but we differ. I beg to differ. What you claim that you have, our office has different findings, meaning you're making a case, making a trial, and making a second trial out of bullshit. But how does this bullshit come about? I'll tell you how it. Oh my God, I need my mouse. Hold on. Let me see if it's working. Let's see if it's finally working. Yes, it's finally working. So we're finally gonna, okay, so now it went again. I gotta charge it a little bit longer. It's almost working, guys. Hold on. Did it, hold on. Oh my God. Almost. I gotta charge it a little bit longer. I don't know why it's taking so long. It shouldn't. It shouldn't though, but I can't even go to, okay, I got messages from you guys. So I'm using my phone. Okay, Colonel Mon was also in the same email that Matt McCabe sent. Maura Healy, Kimberly Briscoe, Carissa Hand, Terrence Reedy, the constituent services, which I'm sure that he's donated, James Eldridge, Mike Barrett, William Brownsberger, Nate Collins, Walter Timothy, William Galvin. You know, all of these people are in that email. And that's just not just an email to complain because Michael Proctor is being, you know, you got to look at it from his point of view. This is the guy that is working on behalf of who? On their behalf. On their behalf. the federal government inserted themselves in this case. That's not true. For what reasons? I do not know. Why should you? Who died and made you the king of the freaking jungle, Matt? Like, who are you? Do you think you and your 17 and your 39 millions and whatever, and the fact that you have contracts with the U.S. Secret Service, I wonder, do they know? Like, do they know? Maybe, and maybe this is what's at stake, right? If all of this comes out, I wonder what would happen with this contract. Because the last time I checked, the government doesn't deal, right, with anybody who attempts to delete House Launch Die in the Cold 16 times. Or especially somebody whose family, whose phone, because it wasn't Jen McCabe's phone, typed in House Launch Die in the Cold at 2:27:40 and got abruptly interrupted, and the search never made it. But the actual action and the activity is registered because it happened and it occurred. And what that shows is premeditation. There was a plan. There was a need to find out how slow to die in the cold on the 29th of January at that exact time, given the weather conditions, the temperature, right? If somebody was placed outside for God knows how long, they needed to know how long to die in the cold so they could what? What were they going to do? I'll tell you what they did. They stopped Julie from going at 4:55. That was the first call that was placed. Hey, Julie, don't go deliver donuts. Don't go find John, right? There was a need for information. And it was typed in, and it was keyed in, and it was interrupted on Jen McKay's phone. That is artifact number 4028. It is registered on the WAL file. It is still existent. It exists on Magnet Forensic platform. And it still exists on Celebrite. That's what I.Whiffin said too. Whether the physical analyzer was upgraded or not, 22 days after the last upgrade happened, whether there was a ticket generated by I.Whiffin to delete, to upgrade the physical analyzer to make that Google artifact disappear, it still exists. I don't know how we cannot easily prove this. We have enough information to physically prove what happened here. I mean, if we get out of the chef, the cook, and the dishwasher guy, right? Because if you think about it, if the chef cooks it, if the chef presents it, but he also cooks it, and he also washes the plate, what happens if something happens wrong with the preparation or the serving or the washing of that plate? It stays concealed. Nobody's going to know anything because the same one who cooks it is the same one who serves it, and is the same one who cleans the dishes. Oh my God. Okay, wait. So, okay, string one, genius one, Josie. I feel bad about. Okay, I am repeat my comment one, string genius. Present for class. Hi, folks. Dennis Sweeney, Josie's on something. Okay, it's Florida TT. Suffolk County, yes, Chris Kelly being selected to handle Karen's phone wouldn't have happened in a scenario where things were happening in good faith. No, I would have secluded, said, I'm sorry, I'm conflicted out, right? Dual roles. You can't do two things. You can't. It's against regulations. It's one of the basic, most neutral stuff that the first things that they teach you. It wasn't figuring out why Whitfield's report didn't have. Yep. So it doesn't have the Celebrate report, but I'll tell you why it doesn't have Celebrate report. Because I have a feeling that the April cross-examination by Alessi in 2025 and the redirect examination of I.Whiffin in 2025 April, it happened on the same day, and both of them are drilling I.Whiffin at some point. But how could Cellebrite allow this? That's what I'm saying. That's why the report doesn't have any logos that indicate Cellebrite. You are, I don't know if you're following me. If Cellebrite doesn't render a report, and I.Whiffin is sitting there, and he says that he's sitting there because he's the product manager for Cellebrite, what you and I understand is that he's representing the findings that came from the physical analyzer Cellebrite, which is the company where he works with. Yeah, that email isn't a smoking gun. So, but if the report doesn't come from Cellebrite, then they are what? They are avoiding any liabilities, right? All the things point to the possibility that MA being used by certain interests playing field to mess with the outright reg outcomes when the situation calls for us. Yeah, well, and this is where it's going to get worse, because if you think about it, so what would happen, right? If you're able to contract experts, but here you are, and you are part of, you're just a witness, like Nicole said. I'm just a witness, and I'm going to recommend anybody never to do that anymore. If you're just a witness, how can you be an entity who suggests or passes along curriculum or resumes from other people to be hired, people that people that are within the same circle that you hang out with, right? And then to make it worse, hire them as experts to support Guarino's findings. You know what I think right now? You know what I think about Guarino? Guarino is just a puppet. It is impossible for me to believe that Guarino is the distraction guy. And his attitude, his mockery, his sort of defiance, right? Aptitude when he sits on the witness, oh, just kill me. All of that sort of like tells me like a level of arrogance and obnoxiousness, almost like he knows he's above everything because he knows who's covering all of this, right? But if you think about it, Guarino doesn't have the power to do any of this. Guarino is just a puppet. If Guarino finds something and he's the one that extracts the phone, he's just like a lot of people, he's told what to do. But this is not the first time that Guarino does this. He skipped 32,709 messages from Sandra Birchmore's case. Remember? So to cover for who? For Matthew Farwell. And potentially Billy. And potentially the other one, the other guy. We have no idea. But what I'm saying is, what if Guarino extracts the stuff and he presents it and somebody is the one that is telling him what to do? Because when you see Tully and how he just ran for the hills, by the way, he just retired, took a paycheck and retired. When you see Tully running for the hills and Tully is the one that is directing this Symphonica crap situation, what does that look like? It doesn't look like Guarino is the one in charge. What it looks like is Tully is the one in charge. And Guarino is going to do whatever Tully says, right? And Tully just found supporting whatever through people. He found contracted employees, experts to support what Guarino's. Oh my God. I think I got this almost done. But my thing is, do you think John knew? Do we think that John perhaps knew what was going on? Did Karen know? How do I know that maybe Karen knew? I mean, Karen was the one that was filming the guy that was dealing drugs up front John's house. She was the little detective with the camera filming the thing. If John knew something or John whatever, do you think that Karen wouldn't know? Oh my God. Hold on. 2019 love letter to Epstein from a senior political advisor who elected Mara Healey, bragging about Massachusetts' 40 billion ways and means budget. Do you have that letter? If you have it, you have my email, Monty. If you have that letter, I need that letter. Because you know me, I just don't read letters. I spend days breaking these letters apart. These people who may be ripped, maybe who may rip me and other citizens physically and mentally by illegal means, is just too much for me to sit on my hands. I'm sorry, ST22. I don't mean to put pressure on any of you, and I know that sometimes it's a lot. And there are some times that I say, you know what, I'm just going to post on X and I'm not going to come in because I don't want to exasperate anybody. I don't want to make anybody any nervous that they already are. My intention is not to stress anybody. I rather just deal with it in solitude. And, I got a few peeps that check on me and call me and email me and we talk. And that's how but sometimes it's a lot, especially when you find something that is impossible to deny. Like, it is impossible to deny that this didn't happen. You cannot tell me that these people are not all in cahoots, that these people don't know each other. So it is impossible. So also the National Computer Forensic Institute wouldn't have awarded Exordia. Yeah, and I was leading to that. So the same type of award that Matt McCabe got in 2014 that he applied for, right, is the same type of award that Jessica, and I'm waiting on the due date because I have an email and I'm waiting on the due date. If I'm not mistaken, she got paid for this in August, starting August 2024, but the big payout came out on August 2025. It was 49.5 million. I'm not saying that it has anything to do with it because this is a grant, just like another grant. But the key information here is that the grant that she applied for and the job that she's going to do, guess where it is? It's at the freaking National Center for Forensic Institute. And the person who designs that curriculum, that develops that curriculum, guess who it is? It's Chris Kelly, man. Melanie Little is about to go live. It just came the notification in. So do you see where everything is clicking? So she gets an award. There is a due date to apply for that. And if I'm not mistaken, it was June. I want to say it was June. I think it was June 6th, 2024, because the first trial ended. The first trial ended June. No, I'm getting confused. The first trial ended July 2nd, 2024. That was the hung jury. The second trial ended June 19th of 2025, somewhere around there. But the due date for this grant was in 2024. You had to submit paperwork, right? You had to submit all the requirements and blah, 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 blah. And you also had to have a sponsor. Why? Because Jessica Hyde, the company that Jessica Hyde had was a 3-year-old company. She had just put the company together like 3 years, not even 3 years ago. So they needed a prime hub sort of sponsor. And that's the other thing that clicks, that the sponsor that Hyde used, right, is the same sponsor that Matt McCabe's company used. Also, Morris's emails from 2025 had one to a celebrate woman who lives in Mass. I need that. What's the name of that? That's not Heather, is it? Because I think she lives in Virginia. I just sent it to you. Okay. I don't have a mouse. Oh, I can check on my phone. Hold on. And so they already tried to take Warino out, but not to lunch. Yeah, because that was a bad accident. The same thing with Barrows. Did you notice that? Same thing with Barrows. Barrows was in a very bad accident, but apparently was I'm not saying that they're related. They don't have to be related, but okay, wait. But let me see if I find the email. Okay, I see it. So 2009. I found the letter. The Epstein letter. And let me see if I find the other one, the email that has to celebrate woman. That's the one that I'm looking for. Hold on. Hold on. I don't see it yet. At least I don't have the email yet. I'm looking. Don't see it. So, how do I let, I need to make a big deal out of it. People need to know about this. People need to know about this. I don't have the email, the name of the person. That one hasn't come in yet. Are you sure you sent it to the Josie Sums one? Okay, so Barrows, yeah, head-on collision. But the person was, I guess she was drunk. That's what I read. And, but yeah, released in the 2025 batch. Morris's emails from 2025 had one celebrate woman. So, and here's the thing, because these people work. Do you remember that I.Whiffin said that he had his own company, his own blog, his own whatever, and everybody started like criticizing him because he used the opportunity for the witness for during the trials to almost like promote his own company, right? This is very typical in the digital forensic world that everybody sort of like has a job, but then they also have their side company, and it's not as unethical as the situation with Colleen Crawford and John Fanning when they are doing the same thing and they have a company on the side doing the same thing that they do for their civil service jobs. So it is totally different. But in this case, it's very normal that everybody sort of like branches out and tries to have their own companies and whatever. But all of these people know each other. They mingle and rub shoulders in the same sort of like, arena. They go to the same conferences. They attend the same trainings. They keep up with the certifications. Some of these certifications are online, so they see each other on the Zoom thing. Sometimes they have to go to Australia. Sometimes they have to go all over the place and attend these conferences where they actually meet each other. Don't forget what Jessica Hyde said, that the Serogias guys, remember, there is an expert in Apple Health data, and he's talking about coming over because he's going to be an expert on the Karen Read trial. And she's the one that is being a Snoop Doggy Dog and snooping for Tully and letting Tully and Lolly know everything that she can, that she gathers from where? From a conference in Australia. She's snitching. She's keeping an eye and ears open. This is not somebody who's an expert. She's retained as part of the team for Norfolk County. If she was a neutral expert, she would have just picked up the phone and answered to Lisa Little when she contacted her, or Alan Jackson, because they had every right to information that came about their reports, right? They had every right. Why do they have right? Because they are the defense team and it's part of the discovery. If she's an expert for the Commonwealth that is trying to find out information or analyze or research or anything, they are as entitled as the Commonwealth to whatever discovery she gets, right? But the point is, she was never hired to do that. What did Adam Lally said? Hey, can you whip a report real quick on Jen McCade's phone? Right? That's what she's hired for. To provide information and give them support in whatever it is that they need, because their goal, right? Just like she said, our goal, and then she went, was to prove if this was a glitch or what was it, because of the hamburgers and the pizzas, right? Their goal was to hide, to what? To make it undetectable. I have a little short when I caught I.Whiffin saying, make it undetectable. Can you believe this crap? And nobody heard this? That was their goal. They were playing for the team. I'm looking forward to meeting the team. What team? Right? What did the Celebrate expert say in the conference that I sent you all to watch? What did they say? The FBI guy from the Pennsylvania field office, what did he say? That typically there's activity, no activity, and then activity. And then when that happens, normally when there's no activity, that is when the homicide happened. That's what the FBI field office guy from Pennsylvania said. So why didn't they apply the same thing to John O'Keefe? Why didn't they apply the same thing to John in John's case, in his homicide? There are still people out there thinking that there is an accident, that this cannot be an accident. How do I know if I stumbled into all of this stuff simply by auditing papers, public information that has been shared through the FOIA request, that if I stumbled into this, and you think that John maybe didn't know about this? How can John not know about this? Or did he know about this? Or did other people know about this? So let me put it this way. Imagine you live in Massachusetts, and I know a lot of people do. Let's imagine that we find ourselves in a pickle, right? We all live in Massachusetts. We find ourselves in a pickle. We all have phones and iPads with us, right? All of a sudden, the phones and the iPads and all of that, we get a consent form, we sign it off, and they're going to go for extraction, whether it's in Norfolk County, Suffolk County, Barnstable County, whatever. They'll go for extraction, right? And you have a group of people just like this, where they are acting like the chef, the cook, and the dishwasher guy. And the fate of whether you're found guilty or not guilty, culpable or exonerated, rests in the hands of these people. And it's the same people. The same person who contracts people, the same person that is informing everybody, yes, we got them hired to support Guarino's finding, the same person that is able to direct, open a ticket, and change a physical analyzer and make that artifact number 4028 undetectable. The same people. And the same people are the ones that are going to have the last word. And then when everything goes kaput, do you know when everything went kaput? On that, I can't show this. Shoot. In April 2025, that's when everything went kaput. Exactly when Robert Alessi tried to interview who? Tried to interview who do you call it? I.Whiffin, and told him, do you know what the implications of this search means? And I.Whiffin, he said, yes. And then the judge says, sustain. Judge, he said yes. And the judge says, I said sustain. Why? Because in the conference that I sent you all to watch, the C2C conference, annual conference that was held in April 2026, you guys, a year after all of this, there is a God-sent gift to all of us, where there is a conference held by Celebrate, and every single digital forensic analyst person internationally met in Washington, D.C., and they are talking about the Idaho 4. But the process, the methodology, the steps they follow are applicable to the John O'Keefe's case. The difference here is that what they just said they did in the Idaho 4, what the FBI said, the FBI guy from the Philadelphia field office that says no activity, then there's activity, there's no activity, and typically when the activity stops, that's when the homicide happens. None of it was applied to the situation related to the death of John O'Keefe. None of it. And at one point, they are wanting to gloat, right? They are wanting to be arrogant. And one of the people that are on the panel, what does she say? Oh, no. Do you remember when the Karen Read situation happened? And the judge called us, right? Remember? And she said, who had access to magnet axiom? Who has access to that report? Why do you think that is? Why do you think that is? Do you know why? Because he had just admitted to Alessi and to Hank Brennan that the same artifact that he made undetectable on the Cellebrite front is still legit, available to be found, exists on the Magnet Axiom platform, which is a competitor of Cellebrite. And when she heard that, because she never thought that it was possible, right? She thought that, well, if they delete it, and it's going to disappear. But the judge didn't know that they could make it disappear from Cellebrite, because that's where whiffing works. But whiffing doesn't work in magnet forensics, in Axiom. And the only person who used to work for Magnet Axiom Forensic was Jessica Hyde. But guess what? Jessica Hyde quit. She had to quit, because in order for her to have her own company and do her own grant, she ended up quitting Axiom. So now what? We don't have a dog on Magnet Axiom to make that search undetectable. And what happened is they refused to remove it because it was a valid artifact, which is an activity, it's an entry, it's a conduct, it's a behavior, it's something that happened on that phone that didn't register in the history database because it wasn't a search. It was a key entry, unique key entry with its own spelling, its own identifier, its own sequence number, did not populate from a no. That was a unique artifact 4028, which existed, which happened, and it happened on Jennifer McKay's phone. Now, did Jen do it? Probably not. Why? Well, because the iWatch from Jen McKay shows her that she's upstairs, right? But do you know that Jennifer McCabe, Matt McCabe, and Alan McCabe got home right around the same time, at around 2:12 or so? And Jen goes upstairs. And the phone stays where? Downstairs. So who's downstairs? Who's downstairs with Jen's phone? Because Jen is upstairs with her watch. And I cannot tell you who was the person who actually entered those words. But I can tell you that whoever it was quickly interrupted because they didn't hit search and they didn't hit execute. They didn't hit return or entered at all. The only thing that they did was they went ahead, typed it in right after what? Hockamog Sports. It could have been a kid, right? It's very possible. A parent will die before anything happens to our kids. I would gladly volunteer before anything happens to our kids. Not to the extent of this, but you do protect your children. That's what we do. We were born to do that. You do protect your children. But don't forget that John O'Keefe was also a child of somebody else. So it's not only your children's fate and life and destiny and future that is at stake here. Somebody's life just got destroyed. And along with it, the life of the niece and nephew who depended on him after having had lost their own parents. So why did this happen? I'm not sure yet. I think we're getting there. But at the same time, I'm not going to push pieces to fit a narrative that I am comfortable with. I know for a fact this is not an accident. I know that for a fact. That's my opinion. I'm entitled to it, and I'm going to hold on to it for as long as I can. And if somebody wants me to think any different, they're going to have to prove it to me, not backwards. So they're going to have to prove to me that this was not an accident. Because right now, I do not. What did I say? Wait. They're going to have to prove to me that this was an accident, because I do not believe it was an accident. I just fixed it. So what I'm trying to tell you is this is the common denominator. There is a email that is sent to everybody and their mother, very high-ranking officials. All of those high-ranking officials know exactly who Matt McCabe is, because regardless of the fact that he starts saying, my name is Matt McCabe, during the body of that email, he also says, this is nothing like you and I have ever seen. The only way that Matt McCabe knows whether those people, the recipients of his emails, have seen or not what he has seen is if he knows them. Because if you don't know anybody from Adam, how do you know what they've seen? How do you know if they've been at war? How do you know if they have been part of coup d'etats? How do you know if they have taken a bullet from anybody? How do you know them from Adam? You don't know them from Adam. So you can't start a letter saying, hey, my name is Matt McCabe, and I'm the owner of Elevate, which, by the way, not only do we do IT, cybersecurity, and software solutions, blah, blah, we also recruit staff, and provide experts when needed. We also process the investigations for requirements, for security clearances, for the government. So, and then you have this other guy who's the chef, the cook, and the dishwasher guy. He is a legal counselor, developer, curriculum, whatever, at this institute in Hoover, Alabama. Wait a minute. Isn't that where Hoover Burgess, wait, Hoover, Alabama. Isn't that where Burgess, wait, I gotta look this up. I can't remember, but it sounds to me almost like Hoover, Alabama. I remember that. I saw the email. You know who that is? That is her husband. That is Heather's husband. The name on that email is Heather's husband, and he also shows up on that conference, on the YouTube conference that I put the link so everybody would watch it. Everybody has to watch that conference. That conference is like mind-blowing, just like the email. I think one of the most intriguing and revealing pieces of information that I have ever stumbled upon since I started with this. And I'm going to leave the money part, right? The follow the money part out. But it's got to be the email that Matt McCabe sent to those people, the email that Tully sent to Chris Kelly about the support and getting those experts already, right? And the payouts. Yeah, I saw that too. These people who may be ripped. Okay, so I read that too. Got Brenda watching from the beginning. Okay. Hi, Miss Brenda Sweeney. Hi, Mr. Sweeney. I just can't see you as Attorney Foley letting all this slide. I don't understand it, because it's like, the only thing that makes sense as far as why a Republican U.S. attorney of the district of the Department of Justice has not gone full blown on this. Why hasn't she? Unless everybody has been crying, Brian Albert, Brian Higgins, and at the end of the day, it's neither. Because that is another possibility. We talked here about how Matt, Jen, and Chris were the last three that were interacting with John all the way until 12/19/36, when they hung up that phone, and they already knew how close John was to pull up at 34 Fairview. 38 seconds later, Jen is sending a message here, because she already knew how close he was. And I have a feeling that they told him which door to take. And that's why he went woof on a beeline. He knew exactly where he was going, even if he didn't have a coat on, even if it was windy or whatever. It's almost like he knew exactly which door to take. Because if this is the first time that you go to somebody's house, why would you go straight to somebody's door through a garage unless you're told, right? Just can see. Also, wouldn't have awarded a figure federal beginning of whatever when they already knew that Kelly has Karen Read's little phone and hide in common. Wait. Also, the National Computer Forensics Institute wouldn't have awarded Exordia an 8-figure federal contract beginning of 8/2024 when they already know Kelly has Karen. So that's not how it works. So don't forget, and I don't know if you know this, but the fiscal years are critical here. We need to understand how the fiscal years work. So the bid due date was June. She started getting payments on 2024, but they're not related to the last SBA grant that she got in August. So these are different partitions that you're looking at. The actual big bid that she got in August 25th on 2025 after the trial is related to the grant that which due date was June 2020. I want to say that it was June 2020. June 6, 2025 was the last, wasn't it? I gotta go back and see, and I can't access my mouse. My mouse is charging. Still. So, and it's not, I don't think that they were after Karen's phone either. Karen's phone is, I mean, for whatever it is that they wanted, whether it's just to continue with their, the only thing that they can cling on, which is the social media thing, because they were not expecting that. They were not expecting that there was going to be a blogger announcing this through a thing and a megaphone, and people were going to get together wearing pink. They didn't expect any of this. They didn't think that this email was going to be public either. They didn't think that the email between Tully and Chris Kelly and everybody else saying that they got Guarino's help and somebody to support him, they didn't think that there was going to be public either. So, yeah, well, the person, that's not a woman, that's a guy, and that is the husband, that is Heather's husband. Yeah, I saw it. Barris, when a collision sent you a Twitter, Morrissey sent a senior Celebrite executive. Malkit Yahum is that guy directly from his personal. Wow. Okay, I'm gonna look into that. So that even corroborates this further, right? So when was that email? May 8th, 2023, Morrissey to Yahoo. If you get a chance, give me a call. I know Trooper Guarino has been trying to reach you as well. Okay, May 8th, 2023. And the email from Tully was May 11th. That's a great find because I'm going to add it on the timeline right below, right above the May 11th email. The May 11th is from Tully to Chris Kelly and everybody else, letting everybody know that they had already gathered support for Guarino. So Hayun is the VP, yes, of Celebrite. He is also, I think, Heather's husband. And together they own Smarter Forensics, which is the logo on the report that was entered after trial. Shannon Burgess attended Wallace State Community College in Huntsville, Alabama. Okay, so there's nothing related. Oh, Jared is the, yeah, you're right, Jared Vanderhart. So who the heck is Hayum? Who is Hayum? I can't. I'm going to have to look it up on my phone. I got to find out who the Hayum guy is. And I'm going to have to ignore that call because I can't. There's too many things and only so many extremities. So anyhow, so are we following this? So, okay. So let's put it this way. So if we were to live in Massachusetts and we have a situation alike where the same people that are extracting the phone are hired by somebody who is within the house, right? And then the person who is at the AG's office, there is conflict of interest because there are people who are connected to the case who also work there. And that person is acting as a dual role, not only at the Massachusetts Attorney General's office, but also at the same institute. And then this is the institute where Jessica Hyde is gonna go teach curriculum, and the curriculum is designed by who? By the same Chris Kelly. So this is like bad. This is really bad. So when I put it into context with the conference, right, with the conference about the Idaho 4, where they're gloating and they say, do you remember when the judge called us and says, who has access to magnet tracking reports? It was due to that hearing where Robert Alessi and Hank Brennan crossed and redirected I.Whiffin. And I.Whiffin skipped, like he made a mistake, and he said, we made it undetectable. And at that point, Hank Brennan took over, redirected I.Whiffin, and that's when the judge learned that the search, the artifact, it disappeared maybe from Celebrite, right? But it was still available on magnet forensics. So I'm going to wrap it up with this question. The testimony was that it didn't exist anymore in Celebrite, but it was available in magnet forensics, right? If I.Whiffin would have provided a report from Celebrite would have had to attest that its competitor, Magnet Forensics, still had it, right? Maybe, and just maybe, this is the reason why the report that came in trial from I.Whiffin, who is sitting as representing Celebrite, does not enter a report that says Celebrite anywhere. What it says is, Smarter Forensic, which is Heather, and Jared Barnhart, which is Jared is Heather's husband. Tree Clerk Monty just confirmed. Thank you, sweetheart. So this is very bad. So I'm gonna leave you with this. If there is a chance that the nexus involves all of these people, if there is a chance that John O'Keefe had an idea or sort of knew, right, that there was a potential of these people knowing, oh my God, this is really bad. So and then this, we're talking millions here. We're talking millions. So I'm not even sure. I'm not even sure what to do. I'm gonna have to sleep on this and sit on this and do my charts. But the Nexus for me, it makes sense. Like I already put it together. It makes all the sense in the world to me. Melanie's talking about Proctor for some reason, and I don't know that there's something new about Proctor, but I don't want to miss it. And to be honest, I have no idea how am I going to get out of the StreamYard because my mouse is not working, and neither is my mouse is not working. So I don't know how am I going to do this, but I'm going to try. And if I can, this is what I wanted to show. Wait, I found a way. So if they trained, right, and they also testified, and they also profit from it, and we're talking about two critical players, where is the objectivity on this? because not only are they extracting, they're also validating their own results. They also find somebody that is willing to testify and corroborate on their findings and their result. So how does that work? How does that work exactly? And that's what I'm saying, is the chef, the cook, and the dishwasher guy. So they're training each other, they're contracting the right people, they're providing the right resources, all among themselves. Then they use them to provide testimony. Then they use them to provide a report that supports whatever it is that they wanted to support, right? They create tickets to upgrade their own physical analyzers, regardless on when was the last time that was upgraded the last time. And nobody's checking on these people. Everything that I have found so far, this is the result of it. I'm not making anything up. Everything is documented. Everything is within the FOIA documents. Everything is available for everybody to see. Whether there are people who just go through papers and don't dig a little bit further to see what makes sense and what is that doesn't fit, I have no idea. But I'm not one of those people. Like, things have to make sense to me. So when I stumble into something like that email, I kid you not, I spent 2 days breaking that email because it didn't make any sense. Why would any Matt McCabe in the world feel comfortable sending that type of email addressing all of those people in regards to Proctor? Unless Proctor was who was saving his life, right? And the fate of his family. That is the only explanation. That's the only thing that would make anybody, would drive anybody to do such an atrocity. This is a public embarrassment. But don't forget, they never thought it was going to become public either, right? Because if you thought that it was going to become public, maybe you would tweak it a little. I don't know. I mean, I'm thinking like, right? I would tweak it a little. So the mouse is somewhat charged, is going up and down, but that's all it's doing. And I can't do anything else with it. There's nothing. It's not doing anything. Nothing. So I can't either end this. Oh, wait, maybe I can play the thing. I can't even end the stream. How do I go back to Melanie? Oh my God. Okay, you guys, I don't know how am I going to do this, but I'm going to have to figure out a way to shut off my computer, shut off my StreamYard, and see if I can go listen to Melanie instead, or just shut it down completely and go to my phone for a minute and see. I don't want to miss anything that is relevant in regards to this is relevant too, but it can wait. We still have work to do, and this mouse situation sort of like changed my plans here. So thank you for coming. Thank you for contributing. And the Venmos, I saw them. That was a pretty cool surprise. I was not expecting it. So blessings to all of you. And I don't know what we'll do, but the next time that I come up with something, I will sure make sure that we scrutinize it. And yeah. Oh, look, I found a way to. Oh my God, I found a way to. YouTube, Proctor's texts are out. Oh yeah, the new texts are out. Oh my God, there's another filing by Escapicio. Oh my God, I gotta go listen to Melanie. So I'm going to continue to try to log out of this. In the meantime, don't wait for me. Don't waste any time. Go listen to Melanie, and maybe somebody will send me a text or something and let me know what happened. Should I just shut off the entire computer and see if that helps? Because have a good night, Monty, D-Mart, all of you, Mr. and Mrs. Sweeney, everybody who showed up, Sherry D, thank you. I'll talk to you all later. Have a good weekend. Bye. I can't even mute it. This is really bad. Why can't I do this? Right. So, I don't know why you're not working, Mr. Else. Should be fully charged by now. It's not working. So let me check my commands. So maybe I can do it that way. At least I can text on my phone a little. Okay, so let's see. I don't want to do that. So okay, so it may be just that I need to run that upgrade. Let's see if that works. This is really pathetic. It doesn't move at all. Maybe something is wrong with it. Mm. Mm, 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 mm. Okay, here we go. Okay, one. That's what it is.